Mr. Palmer, thank you for joining us. If I could, I'd just like to read the Department of Building's mission statement, and you can just tell us a little bit about it. Clark County Building Department is dedicated to providing our construction and development customers with state-of-the-art permit management, plan review, and inspection services to enhance the built environment.
Very much so. It's a great mission statement, and we firmly believe in that mission statement. Our job is to take care of development. We want to encourage development, but we want it done safely, both on the building side and on the fire prevention side of the house. The mantra for the department is we do not want to lose anybody in a major structural fire, nor do we want to lose anybody in a major building collapse. Certain events do happen. We want to minimize those, but in particular on new construction, we want to make sure that everything's built according to plans and the specs.
You have 8 or 9 divisions there, anything from engineering to inspections and planning and things like that. They all a lot of them interreact and stuff. Talk a little bit about the divisions that you have.
Yes, the 2 main divisions we have between the building department, the building division and fire prevention division, they do very much the similar functions. You have an idea of what you want to build. That concept you bring into your engineers, they design it up for you. Once we have the designs, you bring those to us and we take a look at them. On the building side of the house, we look at the plans check to make sure that everything looks in accordance with the building codes. On the fire prevention side of the house, we do the same thing. We look at those plans, we plan check them in accordance with the fire code, making sure that everything is copacetic with it. During the course of our plans check, we may have some engineering functions we look at. Our engineers will evaluate from an engineering point of view the technical requirements. Once we've gone through all the steps, we'll issue a permit that gives you the authorization to build, and then our inspection team will go back out and during the process of construction, both on the building side and on the fire prevention side, inspect the work and make sure that it's all being built in accordance with the plans and the specs. If there's any questions, we're there to help resolve issues. No plan set is ever perfect, but we work with that. No construction job is ever perfect, and we understand that, and we're there to help the process and make sure that everybody gets to completion. Again, our main job is to make sure that the buildings, the structures are built in accordance with the overall plans and specs.
There's also a program called PIER, P-I-E-R. Of course, I'm sure you like government agencies, acronyms are always rural, but tell me a little bit about that, obviously, that you're working with other county departments and other agencies in the community.
The PIER response program gives us the opportunity to interact with the other departments, make sure that the programs that we're building, the projects that you're building are in compliance, not only with ourselves and with what we have. And if you have concerns about during the course of construction, be it plans check, the engineering, the inspection side of the house, if you have issues, we're there to look at those issues, provide a second opinion. We can go outside, get second opinions on those, and make sure that the project you're trying to bring to fruition makes sense to us and that eventually we can get it safely built and occupied.
Something else called got permits. You're bringing it home to the home handyman type of thing. Obviously, you want to make it, as once again, everything you said, as safe and as seamless as possible, but you want them to be safe, not to issue fines or violations, get things done right on the front end, correct?
Yes, it's critical to get a permit. Again, when we talk about the codes, the building codes are not just codes, they're laws. They're laws adopted by us as the citizens of this community. Our commissioners for Clark County, they adopt them for us. We make sure that all the construction is in conformance with those laws. Even though we call them codes, they are laws. And as such, when you're out there doing construction on your own home, you as an owner builder, you may be able to think that you're pretty smart and very capable, and you may very well be, but a lot of us are not. And myself, I'll do a lot of handyman work around my house, but electrical, mechanical, no. I call a licensed contractor, I get a permit, they come out and do the work. It's just that simple. We want to make sure that everything is safe, not only for you, but down the pike, you're going to eventually sell that property. The next person that comes along, we want to make sure that they can move into a structure that's up to code.
That being said, your department is responsible, or certainly can issue violations and fines for people that are not following these codes and laws.
We try very hard not to. Our job, our concern is to get compliance with the codes. I'd much rather have a safe built environment out there, safe built structures, rather than having to worry about fighting that individual or citing this individual. We want the compliance. If we work with you and you're coming into compliance and I can see a progressive path saying, yeah, okay, I went, I applied for my permits, I'm in process, I'm doing the right inspections, I will work with you on those processes. But if you're not going to follow the code, not going to follow the permit procedures, I will cite you. That's to keep you safe and that's to keep the community safe.
I know, Sam, personally, you were out in Moapa Valley recently speaking to some residents and folks out there, and you actually have a speakers outreach bureau that any homeowners association, a trade organization, or maybe a Shriners Club could get someone from your organization to come out and tell you how to do things correctly. So this outreach is very important.
Very much so. We're part of the community. We need to give back to the community what we take out of the community. As such, the codes are not easy to read at times, and some of our processes and procedures take a little bit of explanation. But once you understand them, in my mind, they're very clear cut. But you, as the average person that doesn't deal with them on a daily basis, once you understand them, you can follow them much more precisely, and we can all work together to get a safe built environment. We're glad to reach out to the community and talk to the community. I've been to multiple HOAs, to talk about their programs and whatnot. Overton, Sandy Valley, Moapa Valley, talking with the local communities, working with the commissioners to talk about our processes and our programs. Everybody is concerned about the building codes and the fire codes. And they say, hey, I don't understand this. It doesn't help the community, us as citizens of this community, if you don't understand it. I'm trying to help everybody understand that better so they understand compliance. If I'm in a rural area and I walk into a structure, I expect that structure not to fall down on top of my head. Just as much as if I go into a restaurant, be it downtown Las Vegas or out in the rural areas, I expect to have a decent meal, not get sick, and expect, a relatively good process to work. Same thing on the building side. We want to reach out to the citizens that are out there, make sure they understand what we're trying to develop.
And as an organization, you sit on many boards, lead many boards with other builders, other people in construction, other trade organizations as well.
Yes. Currently, the Southern Nevada chapter of ICC. ICC is the overall developer of the national, international building codes. And I'm on several of their committees. I'm also with the Southern Nevada building officials. That's everybody here in Clark County or in Southern Nevada trying to work together so we have a consistent code. Each of the jurisdictions, we adopt pretty much all the same codes, but at times we may have some local nuances that are maybe slightly different. But we try to minimize those so that one developer working in Clark County doesn't face a whole new set of rules working over in the city of Henderson. So we're trying to work together as the Southern Nevada building officials to come together and make sure that we have common codes. I chair right now the Nevada Organization of Building Officials. That's across the state of Nevada, trying to make sure that we do the same thing. State of Nevada-wise, what are you doing up north? What are you doing out in the rural areas? What are we doing down south here? So we can all work together and come to a general understanding. It may not be exact, but come to a general understanding that we're all doing things in the same proper format.
It's fascinating how many of these things work together from both ends of the state. Yes. And different levels of government, including legislatively. Your organizations and others here in Clark County have helped tighten up a lot of the codes around pools, and then April Yes. Pools Day has become an annual campaign for pool safety. Talk a little bit about Yes. that, if you would.
Years ago, Southern Nevada had one of the worst records in regards to fatalities for swimming pools. And invariably, it was the infants, toddlers type stage. There were multiple deaths that just didn't need to occur. And as organizations around Southern Nevada, we got together and said, hey, we're smarter than this. We can fix this. And we got together and crafted new ordinances, new laws, new building codes, and said, hey, you've got to have proper barriers. In particular, you've got to have a primary barrier around that swimming pool. You've got to have a secondary barrier right around the pool itself. You've got to have certain safety concerns and alarms on the doors. But the most important thing about swimming pool is close, proper attention of the toddlers when they're around there. It doesn't take a toddler but a few seconds to slip under the water and drown. And that's something that we know how to prevent.
And coming up closer on the horizon is the Great Nevada Shakeout to teach our youngest kids about the dangers of earthquakes, which, as we're here, it's certainly not a joking matter, but Nevada is very earthquake prone, as you mentioned. Talk a little bit about that and why it's important to get kids at an early age to learn about these dangers.
So if I may, when was the last earthquake in Southern Nevada?
2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yesterday. I didn't quite check the stats right before I walked in there, but yesterday, right around 2 a.m. or so. Now, it was minor, but it was like a 1.5 or 1.25, right in that ballpark. But overall, Southern Nevada is very seismically active. The state of Nevada depends on who you talk to, either the third or fourth most active seismically related state in the United States. And as such, earthquake safety is a big issue to us. We're trying to educate not only upfront on the design and the construction of these buildings, of our structures, to make sure that they're safe, they can withstand moderate to medium-sized earthquakes. But we also want the participants or the citizens to understand what to do in the case of an earthquake. It's not a function of are we going to have an earthquake, it's a function of when will that next earthquake occur. We know they occur many times, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. We want everybody to be safe. Earthquake safety drills coming up on October 20th. It's the Great Nevada Shakeout. Even though it's celebrated across the U.S. and across the world, we're trying to get as many organizations involved in that to understand that, hey, an earthquake can happen at any time, and if it does happen, drop, cover, hold on. Drop under a table, hold on, and cover that head, to make sure that you can survive the earthquake. In general, most people are not injured in the building. They're generally injured as they exit the building, running out during the middle of an earthquake. When the buildings are shaking, typically things are falling off the building, hit folks as they run out the doors and into the streets. It's better to sit there, drop, cover, hold on, let the earthquake subside, and then exit the building and move to a safe area. So we're trying to educate all of the folks, but in particular the young kids. The young kids, everybody's heard the analogy for drop and roll when you catch on fire. Very similar in the earthquakes. Drop, cover, hold on. We want to educate the children as they're young, so as they get older, they understand that and they can pass it on from generation to generation. Earthquakes are something that will never go away, but we can live with them and we can work with them and we can definitely design and construct with them. But when it does happen, we want to be safe.